Hello everyone, Steven here from Versatility with another fragrance review, and today we're going to be taking a look at a fragrance from the designer house of Bath & Body Works, and this fragrance is called Ocean. Now Ocean was released in 2010, and it is now part of a collection by Bath & Body Works called the Signature Collection for Men, and that includes this fragrance and the fragrances Citrus, Oak, and Noir. Now, of course, the brand has been around much longer than that. They do carry two lines, which is the house brand, the Bath & Body Works brand, and then they also carry the brand of C.O. Bigelow. They currently have 9 Bath & Body Works fragrances in their repertoire, with I think only one of them being discontinued, which is the fragrance Classic for Men. And when I mention 9 fragrances, I mean 9 men's fragrances. They have many, many fragrances for women. So whenever you think of Bath & Body Works, you can't help but associate it with one of those mall stores, because that's what it essentially is. It's of course very similar to the Body Shop in the sense that they both sell body care products as well as candles. Now I'm going to let you know if I think any of the men's fragrances from this brand are worth checking out. But next up, let's take a look at the presentation for Ocean by Bath & Body Works. Ocean is available in one size only, and that is 3.4 fluid ounces, and the concentration is eau de cologne. First up, let's take a look at the box, and all Bath & Body Works men's fragrances have the same box, with the exception of that pattern right behind the name there. This one appears to have like an ocean-like pattern. You do have the name of the fragrance Ocean written sideways, and then the information like the concentration written down here toward the bottom of the front. At the very bottom you have the ingredients, nothing going on at the sides, and then on the very back here you have the UPC code on the bottom right hand corner, and then up here at the top it says Ocean is a fresh blend of cypress, vetiver, and yuzu. That's pretty much it as far as the box goes. Now as far as the bottle goes, you have that same pattern on the back here, and you can see it through the front. So of course it says Ocean sideways. The cap comes off. It does not click into place, but it fits on there pretty snugly. The atomizer works particularly well. Really nice distribution. It covers a lot of area and it spits out a lot of juice. And then of course you have a sticker at the bottom with information that should be consistent with the one found at the bottom of the box. And that has pretty much been the presentation for Ocean by Bath & Body Works. Now when I smelled this fragrance for the first time, I knew right away that it reminded me of another fragrance that I have in my collection. Not only a fragrance that I own, but a fragrance that I've reviewed on my channel. And that is Eau de Lacoste L1212 Noir by Lacoste. And I couldn't quite get it right away. I did need the help of the note pyramid to figure this out. But when I looked it up, I noticed that both of those fragrances have the note of watermelon. Now, to be honest with you, I don't even know if watermelon really has a smell to it, but I think there is something about this fragrance that's a little watery, a little fruity, a little aquatic, perhaps even salty. And of course, as the name implies, Ocean, you would expect this to be a fragrance that smells aquatic, or maybe one that has a marine accord. And unfortunately, you don't get much of that from this fragrance. And that's something that really surprised me about it. Unfortunately, this fragrance gets too spicy too soon. Whoever upvoted nutmeg on Fragrantica was doing the right thing, because I think that this one has a lot of nutmeg in it. And unfortunately, it's so much nutmeg that it gives it this peppery, almost dry quality. When you have a fragrance named Ocean, I think the last thing you want is a fragrance that smells dry. Dry and ocean really don't go hand in hand. There's also this combination of lavender, cedarwood, cypress, and I think it's vetiver and patchouli in the dry down that really doesn't make for a very clean fragrance. I think patchouli, especially depending on the variety that's being used, and I think it's the bitter variety that's used in this fragrance, doesn't come across smelling overly aquatic or citrusy or watery. The only thing that really took my fancy, or that gravitated toward my interest, is the note of yuzu. Now of course yuzu is a citrus fruit that's used in Japanese cuisine, and it's often used as a garnish in a lot of their foods and drinks. And there is something about this fragrance in the opening as far as the citrus goes that smells quite unconventional. And of course citrus, yuzu fruit, is used in another fragrance by Issey Miyake called Lotus et Pour Homme, and I get somewhat of a similar vibe with this fragrance. Unfortunately, it is so short-lived, and the downside to this fragrance is that it becomes very peppery and very spicy very soon due to the note of nutmeg. So I think that in addition with inexpensive ingredients being used in this fragrance, they're not used in a very nice combination with each other, and the end result is a fragrance that smells nice, but it doesn't necessarily smell like an aquatic fragrance, and that's what I was expecting from this fragrance. So now I'm more likely to gravitate towards citron or white citrus, which are the other two citrus-based fragrances from the house of Bath & Body Works, part of their house brand, the Bath & Body Works brand. So the bottom line for this fragrance is that it's a fragrance that smells quite dry. It didn't fulfill my expectations. It utilizes inexpensive ingredients, especially considering that I bought 6 of their fragrances for under $90. I did the buy 3 get 3 free deal, and these fragrances at 3.4 ounce bottles do retail for $29.95 if I'm not mistaken. So you can get 6 when they're running that promotion for less than $90. In terms of compliments or complaints, I do think this fragrance is more likely to land you a compliment, but that's only because it has inoffensive going for it. I don't think it smells necessarily good, but I don't think anybody's going to complain about the way that you smell. And lastly, have I worn this fragrance outside of testing? No, it didn't really cater to my taste, and I think that's quite evident by the level in the bottle. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. Last up, we have the rating. Take care. First up, we have uniqueness and overall smell, and I ended up giving this fragrance a 4 out of 10. I don't think that this is a very unique fragrance. I think that a lot of the things that this fragrance does have been done before. I did like the opening of this fragrance when it opens up with that yuzu fruit note. Unfortunately, it is short-lived, and I don't like how this fragrance becomes so dry so early on in the composition. When it dries down, I feel like it turns into something very uninspiring, kind of dull, and kind of bland too. So I ended up giving it a 4 out of 10. Next up, we have longevity, and I ended up giving this fragrance a 4 out of 10 as well. Now, this is eau de cologne concentration, so I was only expecting like 1 or 2 hours. This does last about 4 hours on my skin, so I ended up giving it a 4 out of 10. Next up, we have projection, and I ended up giving this fragrance a 3 out of 10. This fragrance projects just a little bit off my body for the first hour, and then it very quickly turns into a skin scent, so this is a fragrance that's worthy of carrying around a decant and reapplying a few times throughout the day, or just kind of refreshing yourself. I ended up giving it a 3 out of 10 for projection. Next up, we have versatility, and I gave this fragrance a 5 out of 10. First off, I think that this is a masculine fragrance just because of that nutmeg quality in the cypress and the patchouli and the vetiver. I think that those all work together to give this a masculine tinge. Unfortunately, I don't think that it satisfies a lot of social scenarios. I think this is a fragrance that I would reserve wearing casually only. As far as a night out scent, it doesn't really have that playful nature, and as far as a dressed up scent, suit and tie, or even semi-formal, it doesn't have a sophisticated, refined, or mature quality about it that I think would allow this fragrance to be worn in that type of a scenario. So I would limit it to just casual wear. And then as far as seasons go, I think this works particularly well in the spring and summer, more so in the summer because I really feel like the heat could allow this fragrance to radiate off your skin and would really better the projection of the fragrance. I don't think that as far as the composition and the concentration that it would allow this fragrance to work particularly well, especially during the harshness of the winter. So versatility of this fragrance is a little bit low, but I ended up giving it a 5 out of 10. Wear this fragrance very freely, very comfortably. Don't be afraid to over apply with it. And then last up, we have presentation. I already told you what I feel about that. I do kind of like the little design on the back of the bottle. The cap doesn't click into place, but did get a pretty good atomization from the atomizer. I ended up giving it a 5 out of 10, and then that brings this fragrance to an overall rating or an average score of 4.2 out of 10. So there you have it. That was my review of Ocean by Bath & Body Works. If you have smelled this fragrance or if you own this fragrance, please let me know what you think by leaving a comment down below. Also, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to shoot me a message. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much for watching my videos and tuning into my channel. Again, this has been Steven with another fragrance review from Redolessence. Take care.